Okay, let's erase this now and go to the next problem. So we want to do 97 base 4. So 97, and now we have to use cups with 4s in them. So 1, 4, 4 squared, which is 16, and then 4 cubed, which is equal to 64. And then if you do 4 to the 4th, you'll see that that's way too big, so you stop there. So the idea is I input, one thing in here, so I write a 1 there. Again, that's 64 things. And so now I got to figure out, how many more things do I have left. If you want, you can use your calculator, right, to figure out how many things you have left. So you start with 97 things, and then you take away that one thing in the 64 spot represents 64 things, and it tells you you have 33 things left. Right, so 33, so 16. Well, I can actually put 2 16s into 33 because 2 16s is a 32. Right, so over here I had 33 things left. I have 2 16s, so that's 32. And again, you can do it at your calculator, say 33 minus 32. I just have one thing left, but you could probably do that in your head. So I put a 0 there and a 1 there. So this one's equal to 1, 2, 0, 1, right, with a little 4 down here. And so on this one, all right, 1, 2, 0, 1, the 4 down there. Okay, in part D, this one's sort of the challenge problem. So we want to do 18,432, base 5. So we're going to need a lot of cups for this one. So let's start over here. We have a 1's cup. We're going to have maybe 5's cup, a 5 squared cup, which is 25 things. So let's just write it underneath here to give us lots of room. Then you have a 5 cube cup, which is 125 things. And then you have a 5 to the 4th cup, which is 625 things. And then you have a 5 to the 5th cup, which I'm at a loss, so I got to figure this out on my calculator. So 5 raised to the 5th is 3,125 things, and I'm running out of space here. Let's see if I can make some more space for myself. There we go. And so now the final spot is a 5 to the 6. And again, I got to go to my calculator to figure out 5 to the 6. And I get 15,625 things. 15,625. Okay, so to represent this number base 5, I obviously can only put a 1 here. And I got to figure out what I have left, and so I'm going to use my calculator. This will help. The calculator will help me. So 18,432. That's what I start with. And now this 1 in this spot doesn't represent just one thing. It represents 15,625 things. Right, so I have 2,807 things left. So I definitely put a 0 there. Right. And the 625. Now I can put a bunch of 625s into 2,807. How many can I put in there? Well, that's a division problem. So you're saying how many times does 625 go into 2807? So you divide this by 625, and it'll tell you it goes into it nicely 4 times. Right, so by this 4 being here, what I have is not just 4 things, but 4 times 625 things. So what I've just represented is 4 times 625. So 2,500 things. I had before 2,807 things, and so I just represent 2,500. So now what I have left? Well, obviously 307 things. And so again, I get to 125, and I ask, okay, well, how many 125s can I put into 307? And I think it looks like just like 2. Right, because 225s is 250, so if I subtract off 250 now, because that's what that 2 represents, not 2 things, but 2 125, so 250 things, I get back 57 things. I obviously can put two 25s into 57. Right, so now I have two 25s, so I can take off 50 things, and I'm left with what you would guess, right? 7 things. And so I can put 1 here, right? That leaves me with 2 things, right? Start with 7. This 1 represents 5 things, and so I have 2 things, and so I can put a 2 there. So my answer for this one, I mean to make that mark, is just 1, 0, 4, 2, 2, 1, 2, and I'll write a little 5 down here to tell everybody this is actually base 5. All right. The next thing we want to do is we want to work with these different base systems when we add and subtract. So it says in the following problems, you will be required to add and multiply 2 numbers in base 10, 5, and 2. Use the tables from the 1.3 handout to help you solve these. You can check your answers by making sure you get the same number in each row, because these are all actually the same, represent the same number of things. So 23 things, this 4, 3 base 5 represents 23 things, and so on. All right, so let's do this normally. What we would normally do in this one here, and let me see if I can zoom in a bit, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so what we would normally do is we just add these numbers column-wise. So 7 plus 3 is 10, so I'd write a 0 here and carry the 1. And then 1 plus 2 is 3. All right, so of course 23 plus 7 is 30 things. Base 5, you do exactly the same thing, but you have to use the addition table to try to remind yourself, how addition works base 5. Because like 3 plus 2, yes, it's 5 things, but you can't use the number 5, the numeral 5, in the base 5 addition. You can only use 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the game. So 3 plus 2, you'll see 3 plus 2 is 10. So you have a 0, and you carry the 1. And then 4 plus 1, when you come to 4 plus 1, and that's 10. And if you add 1, you get 11. So you copy down 11. And you can just kind of look 10, and then 10 plus 1, you go over 1, that's 11. And you write a little 5 down here. This should represent 30 things, and it does. Base 5, this is 0 ones, 1 5, and 1 5 squared, right, which is 25. So really this one is 25 things, this is 5 things. When you add them together, you get 30 things. All right, now base 2, right, what we want to do now is do this base 2. So let's pull up the base 2 table. Pull this down. Just move it over. All right, so base 2, the idea is now when you add ones, you get a 10. So 1 plus 1 is a 10, and so I'm going to write a 0 and carry the 1. There are a number of ways to add things here, so you can say 1 plus 1 is a 10, and if I add 1, I get 11. As long as you don't hit the 2, you're fine. So 1 plus 1 is 10, plus 1 is 11, so I have 1, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 10, plus 1 is like 11, so I have 1, carry the 1. And then 1 plus 0 is 1. And then 1 plus, nothing is just 1. And this is base 2. Right, so adding base 5 and base 2 is relatively simple once you get the hang of it. Let's do a couple that are a little bit harder.